Hello everyone, welcome back to Make the Music, and today I'm going to be doing a video on my 3 favorite vocal plugins to help you get that professional upfront vocal processing sound that you hear on all the modern records. These are going to be some of my 3 favorite. These are like the go-to bare bones. I may eventually add more plugins on as I get further and further down the mix and may have to layer some things, but these are like my 3 go-to where if I want to get the vocal just to a place where it's kind of sitting correctly and it's fitting in context with the rest of the mix. But you have to have these 3, at least in my opinion, to get your vocal to sound up front and to sound how it should. So I've got a number of lead vocals. They're all going to be bused to this vocal bus, and that's what I'll be using here to add the processing. So I'll play the song here. You can hear the vocal in context with the rest of the mix. There's no processing on it.
Look beyond the horizon, tell me what you see. Do you feel the world passing by you? What can set you free?
Okay, so that's a verse part, and here's what the chorus sounds like.
Playing God, you're playing God. There's no saying what this world can bring. And every time I close.
Okay, so you can hear that the vocal is at the right level, right? It's been normalized to a point where it sounds, like it fits level-wise in the mix, but it is so variant in volume because there's no compression on it, right? And so it doesn't have that upfront polished vocal sound that we're so used to. So that's what I'm going to go over here. So here's the first plugin that I like using just to get my vocal off the ground here, and that's the Slate Virtual Mix Rack. And you can do a lot with this plugin. This is what it starts off with. I'm just going to go step by step here and what kind of processing I would add. So the first thing here is the virtual channel. This is like a Neve channel. Also is doing it as if the vocal was on a console or something like that, and it had a little bit of that channel saturation. This is very, very subtle, and it's not doing a lot here. Now what I'm also going to do is add this 11-76 model here, or not this 11-76, excuse me, the 1073 vocal preamp here. This is just going to dirty up the vocal just a little bit. So I'm going to solo the vocal, just the lead vocal here. You can hear how subtle these effects are.
Playing God, you're playing God. There's no saying what this world can bring.
So that's slightly clipping. So I'm just going to bring down that vocal level just a little bit there. I had to do it to bring it up to level the rest of the mix.
Playing God, you're playing God. There's no saying what this world can bring.
And then with that off, that sounds like this.
Playing God, you're playing God. There's no saying what this world.
So it's just adding a subtle bit of excitement to the vocal, but like I said, it's very, very subtle. Then the most important part of this is the EQ that I'm going to add here. So this is just a Neve board style EQ here, based on the SSL channel. And what I'm going to do here first off is roll off just a little bit of low end, maybe probably up to 90 hertz or so. And then I'm going to add a little bit of top with this top bell here, and then probably another 3 or 4 dB. I'm just going to listen to the vocal and see where it starts to shine.
Playing God, you're playing God. There's no saying what this.
You can notice I start to roll too high and the vocal gets way too thin, especially if you listen to all the vocals here.
Playing God, you're playing God. There's no saying what this world can bring.
Okay, so, close to 100 hertz is a great spot. What I'd like to do too is find a low mid frequency that is just very sort of muffled sounding. It can do with the room that it was tracked in. It's not always tracked in an optimal place, these vocals sometimes. So I want to find that spot. So I'm going to go with a narrow Q here. So this Q is the broad Q. This is the narrow Q. I'm going to boost until I find a frequency that I just don't like all too much.
Playing God, you're playing God. There's no saying what this world can bring. And every.
Okay, so that's quite an awful sounding frequency. So I'm going to take about 3-ish dB out of that.
Playing God, you're playing God. There's no saying what.
So the vocal sounds a lot tighter, a lot cleaner. Let me bypass the plugin.
Playing God, you're playing God. There's no saying what this world.
So it's already kind of a little bit compressed with the virtual channel. It's had a little bit of that preamp drive and then some EQ just to give it some presence. So here's where we're sounding right now in the context of the mix here.
Playing God, you're playing God. There's no saying what this world.
So if I go to the verse part. Okay, so we're a lot closer. We got a lot more clarity, but that's plugin number 1, Virtual Mix Rack. And really, it does include a couple different things, but most importantly was the EQ section here. You could use any stock EQ to get the same effect that I did. Now, here's plugin number 2. It's going to be a compressor. And what I'm going to use, especially for a rock track like this, is the CLA 76 compressor. This is just the perfect quintessential vocal compressor, and you don't have to purchase this one. You can use your stock compressor in the DAW. The same principles apply here, or even the Virtual Mix Rack has, I'll show you here. It has a compressor, the blue channel here, the 1176, it has that included in the Virtual Mix Rack, but I like this plugin specifically here. And what I really like using actually is the Bluey and just the Start Me Up preset here that comes with the compressor. And it really works really well with these rock vocals and just tightens it up in the best way possible. So here's the vocal now.
Look beyond the horizon. Tell me what you see. Do you feel the...
You can see that's so much tighter. Let me take the plugin off.
Look beyond the horizon. Tell me what you see. Playing God, you're playing God. There's no saying what this world can...
So you can see that's doing like 15 dB of gain reduction, quite a bit of gain reduction actually, but it's only at a 4:1 ratio here, but it's tightening up that vocal so much, and it's really making it sound up front in the rest of the mix. Let me take it out of solo here. I'm just going to increase the output just a little bit here.
Playing God, you're playing God, you're playing God. There's no saying what this world can bring. And every time I close my eyes, I see a new...
So we're already so much closer to where we need to be for that finished vocal sound. Let me bypass these.
There's no saying what this...
So you can see without the compression, without the EQ, the presence is going in and out. The consistency in terms of the volume is going way in and out. But we just added those two plugins, basically an EQ, basically an 1176 style compressor.
Playing God, you're playing God, you're playing God. There's no saying what this world can bring. And every time I close my eyes, I see a new reality.
So that is so much closer to a finished sound. But now we're going to move on to plugin number 3, and that's some form of an ambience plugin. And that can be a delay, that can be a reverb. It can really be quite a variety of things here. What I'm actually going to use is a free reverb plugin. It's called Valhalla Supermassive. I love this plugin. You can get this from Valhalla DSP. And it really is just a very versatile reverb plugin. Now, you got to be careful. Here's what it sounds like right out of the box. It's a little too ambient for my taste.
Playing God, you're playing God, you're playing...
Right, it's just acting like a crazy lot of delay throws there. So let me go to the reverbs. I love this preset to start with. It's called Forward Reverb. This gives me a good place to start with. Obviously way too ambient there, so I like to turn down the wet knob quite a bit and then mess with some of these settings till I feel like I'm getting somewhere close to where I want to be here.
Playing God, you're playing God, you're playing God. There's no saying what this world can bring. And every time I close my eyes, I see a...
Now the vocal feels like it has a space, somewhere where it lives, as opposed to being just incredibly dry. And even the driest of vocal sounds that you'll hear, there still is a little bit of ambience, even if it's very, very subtle, typically, in the background of the mix. It's very uncommon for a vocal just to have absolutely zero reverb or delay on it. It does happen, but especially in a rock mix like this, you do want to have a sense of space. So let me play it for you in the context of the mix.
Look beyond the horizon. Tell me what you see. Do you feel the world passing by you? What can say you?
You can notice this reverb has an EQ control, and I'm just rolling off some low end here.
Look beyond the horizon. Tell me what you see. Do you feel the world?
If I go to a chorus.
There's no saying what this world can bring. And every...
And solo.
There's no saying what this world can bring.
So that is our, our 3 plugins there. We've got an EQ basically, with a few, saturation style console plugins. So with the virtual mix rack, then the CLA 76 on the blue channel, basically the stock channel there, and then a free reverb plugin, Valhalla Supermassive, and your vocals basically professional. Maybe some automation, maybe a few other things like a de-esser you can throw on there. But right now our vocals sounding really close to finish. So I'm going to bypass these plugins, play it through the end of the verse here and then to the chorus, bypass and turn them back on, and just to get the difference.
There's no saying what this world can bring, and every time I close my eyes, I see a new reality. There's no saying what this time.
And there you go. And you can tell that with those 3 plugins, we have more top end, it's more present, it doesn't feel muffled. We got the compression to level out the volume, and then the ambience to give the vocal a space. So those are your 3 plugins that, in my opinion, you need to have on your lead vocal to make it fit in the track. Let me know what plugins do you use down in the description box. I'd love to hear what you're using on your tracks and what you're doing to get successful mixes. Anyways, that is today's video, and I will see you guys next time.